If you're good at lavishing praise on people and not criticizing your people and inspiring your people, that's something you just have to do from day one.
I think there's a certain amount of time, and within that time, you want the best net outcome. So, for all the set of actions that you can do, there's going to be some of which will fail, some of which will succeed, and you want the net useful output of your set of actions to be the highest. So, like, use like a baseball analogy, like, baseball, they don't let you just sit there and wait for the perfect pitch until you get a real easy one. They can give you 3 shots. On the third one, they say, okay, you get off go back to put somebody else up there. So your 3 strikes on baseball, not on batting for. So what you're really looking for is, like, what's the batting average? How you doing on score? And just there's going to be some amount of failure, but you want your net useful output to be maximized. Failure is essentially irrelevant unless it is catastrophic.
I mean, as long as people stay super focused on creating an absolute best product or service that really delights their end customer, like, if they stay focused on that, then basically if you get it such that your customers want you to succeed, then you probably will. If your customers love you, your odds of success are dramatically higher.
For somebody who's just starting out as an entrepreneur, I think the internet is a great place to start. Because if you're just starting out, unless you've got a ton of capital that somebody gave you or you inherited or something, you have to do something. You have to start a company that requires a small amount of capital, where it's heavily weighted towards the intellectual capital in your head. So I think anything to do with sort of software and with the internet is a really good starting point. It would have been impossible for me to have done electric cars or rockets, right from the start, because those require money to get anything done.
Being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to, a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing to tell you. Can you tell the difference between those two things?
Right.
So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. Successful entrepreneurs probably come in all sizes, shapes, and flavors. An obsessive nature with respect to the quality of the product is very important. But even if you're the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short. If you like what you're doing, you think about it even when you're not working. I mean, it's something that your mind is drawn to. And if you don't like it, you just really can't make it work, I think. If you're creating a company or if you're joining a company, the most important thing is to attract great people. So either join a group that's amazing, that you really respect, or if you're building a company, you've got to gather great people. I mean, all a company is a group of people that are gathered together to create a product or service. And so depending upon how talented and hardworking that group is, and the degree to which they are focused cohesively in a good direction, that will determine the success of the company. So do everything you can to gather great people if you're creating a company. Then I'd say focus on signal over noise. A lot of companies get confused. They spend money on things that don't actually make the product better. So, for example, at Tesla, we've never spent any money on advertising. We put all of the money into R&D and manufacturing and design to try to make the car as good as possible. And I think that's the way to go. So for any given company, just can keep thinking about, are these efforts that people are expending, are they resulting in a better product or service? And if they're not, stop those efforts. Don't just follow the trend. So you may have heard me say that it's good to think in terms of the physics approach, or first principles, which is, rather than reasoning by analogy, you boil things down to the most fundamental truths you can imagine, and you reason up from there. And this is a good way to figure out if something really makes sense, or if it's just what everybody else is doing. It's hard to think that way. You can't think that way about everything. It takes a lot of effort. But if you're trying to do something new, it's the best way to think. And that framework was developed by physicists to figure out counterintuitive things like quantum mechanics. So it's really a powerful method.
To become an entrepreneur is not easy, and a lot of people who try to become entrepreneurs, they fail along the way, but good ones pick themselves up and they try again until they succeed. And you know what an entrepreneur needs to do, first of all, is come up with an idea that will make a positive difference to other people's lives. And if you've got an idea that's going to make a positive difference to other people's lives, you've got a chance of building a business. Play hard, work hard, and follow certain principles in life. Love people, make sure you make a positive difference in this world while you're on it. Most people listening to this show know what their passion is, and then it could be a hobby. It could be they could love reading, they could love playing tennis. They'll have passions. And if you have a passion, it makes sense to spend a lot of your life involved in that passion. And quite often you can turn your passion into a business. You can see maybe there's some aspect of your passion that people are not doing that well. And you can say, screw it, I could do it better. And I think if you spend your life with your eyes open, looking for things that frustrate you, looking for gaps in the market, that's all a business is. It's fulfilling that, filling in a gap and doing it better than it's being done by anybody else. And if people who don't have closed minds will most likely find those opportunities. Now, I suspect there will be 100 people who will have come up with that idea before you. But those 100 people won't have had the courage just to go and do something about it. So those few people who just say, right, I'm going to give it a go, often end up, being successful. And I think if you believe in what you're doing, many people will tell you why you're mistaken, why it'll never work. But if you really believe passionately in what you're doing, just keep going, keep pushing on until you either succeed or at least you realize that it's just not going to happen. And then if you don't succeed, pick yourself up and try again. And ultimately, if you're that determined, you will succeed in life. And if you don't, you'll have a lot of fun trying. I look at everything as an opportunity. I'm positive about life generally, and I generally feel that you can find ways of solving problems and making things work. And I'm definitely a sort of glass nearly full kind of person rather than a glass half full. So I think out of being just a generally positive person, you can make positive things happen.
The absolute key is how good you are with people. And if you genuinely care about people, if you can surround yourself with people that are genuinely excited about what you're doing, if you can draw out the best in people, if you're good at lavishing praise on people and not criticizing your people and inspiring your people, that's something you just have to do from day one. Never use the I word. I mean, you're a team. We're doing this. We're doing that. Never ever, let it sort of center on yourself, and just be a great leader of people. And if you can do that from day one, even if you've got one other person working with you or two other people working with you, then you can enjoy the good times together. But there will be bad times, and your people will pull around for you. They'll work day and night to try to keep whatever it is you're creating alive, and make sure that it survives. So the number one lesson is be a great people person.
No matter how good we are, we can still be better. You can always be better. customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. So we watch for that, and we see patterns, and we can find places where it's not working, something's going wrong, and that's really how I get the feedback, is from customer input. And often, in all caps, angry, you ruined my child's birthday because the gift didn't show up on time. And we take that, and what you really want to do is you take that, it's an anecdote, it's a single example, but you need to find the root cause. What went wrong deep inside the system? How did this happen? Because then you can fix it for everyone, so that particular problem will never happen again. You don't just fix the symptom, you have to fix the root cause. And that's been the secret to our operational success for 20 years. There are a lot of things that are a waste of time. If you can get your work life to be where you enjoy half of it, that is that is amazing, because very few people ever achieve that. Because the truth is, everything comes with overhead. That's reality. Everything comes with pieces that you don't like. Every job comes with pieces you don't like. And we need to say, that's part of it. You should have the least stress. There's this false idea that CEOs are under the most stress. Well, I look at that, I'm like, why? You're in charge. Why don't you delegate the stress? It's your choice. And so you have to figure out how to set up your life in such a way that you can minimize the things. And I find people don't dislike hard work. What people dislike is being out of control. Like, they can't control their life. They can't control their environment. We all have the same amount of time in the world. Nobody has more time than anybody else. A young person should find something that they're passionate about to do. And that's not going to surprise anyone. It's a clear thing to do. It's very hard. If you don't love your work, you're never going to be great at it. I think the other thing I would suggest to any young person, even before they start their career, is to really think about their choices. Because I find young people, and when I was young, I made this mistake too. You can get very fixed on your gifts. So everybody has gifts. You have gifts, and you have things that you didn't get gifted. Maybe you're extremely beautiful. Maybe you're extremely good at mathematics. There are a lot of things that you can be given. But those things can confuse you because they're not the things that construct your life. It's your choices that construct your life, not your gifts. You can celebrate your gifts. Be proud of them. Be happy of them. Actually, don't be proud of them. Be celebratory of them. But you can't be proud because they're gifts. They were given to you. You didn't earn them. You can only be proud of the things you earn. What was hard for me is deciding to work hard, deciding to use my gifts in certain ways, to challenge myself, to do things that I didn't think I could do, to put myself in uncomfortable situations. We all I would say to a young person, you can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. Which one of those, when you're 90 years old, are you going to be more proud of?